So this is going to be another interesting video about the moon and the sun and
more
this
moon
time,
questions.
More questions than answers.
Right.
This time, no, we're not going to rely on other footage. We're not going to rely, even though you're seeing other footage throughout this video as we voice it over. But you bought one of those cool Nikon P900s.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, really cool with the 83x zoom, and people are pretty familiar with getting moon and sun photography and zooming in with video, and this is where it raises more questions than answers than ever before.
Yeah, so we'll just talk about maybe three topics here. The first couple we've gone over before, and the third one I'd like to address for the first time on our channels. So first of all, I shot this video here that you're looking at on March 8th. It was a Wednesday afternoon, about 5:20 or so, East Coast time. And it's about an hour and a half before sundown. Sun's low in the sky. And you can see from the shadows in the video where I'm shooting, the moon, the bottom left side is not lit, right? But you can clearly see by turning around where the sun's position is in the sky that it should definitely be lit. Why is that not lit? And I still have yet, from 6 months ago when I posted a similar video, I still have yet to find a good explanation.
That's one of the first ones I put up, is when we were in the parking lot looking up, and it was just an odd angle. The sun was actually on the same side as the shadow of the moon. It was like the bottom right-hand side,
right?
But the sun was over to the right.
Right. The sun should clearly, if my eyeballs can look up and see that shadowed part of the moon, the sun is right by me. It could see it too. It should have been able to be lit, and it's not. So that's kind of like, a repeat of what other people have been posting lately. But the second thing I want to talk about is I still have yet to get a great answer as to why the craters on the moon are always the same color as the sky behind it. And what I mean by that is, at night, when you look at the moon at night, well, the craters are always shades of black, right? Gray, black, lighter or darker, so to speak. And in the daytime, on a blue sky, they're blue. Now, if the moon is actually out of our atmosphere, as science tells us, 238,000 miles away, why would the color of our atmosphere, the color of our sky, have anything to do with the craters on the moon?
What do you attribute that to? There's people with the way out theory, at least I think it is, that say it's a hologram.
Yeah,
that it's not even actually
a physical thing.
It's a satellite.
Yeah.
You talk about the what's his name? Oh God, the David Icke's of the world. Yeah. But I thought, hey, there's people that thought 9/11 being an inside job was a crazy theory years ago. I'm just looking at this, and it is quite clear, and we're looking out the window right now. I'm sure we can see the moon the same way. It looks very transparent, translucent.
Yeah. It looks like taking a half opaque object and putting it over something. Like, in other words,
you could see through it.
Yes. Like, I am convinced that if the sky were red, that the craters on the moon would be red. Whatever color you place this moon on top of, those craters become that color.
What's your theory on that?
I don't know. I mean, of course, that implies transparency.
What's your guess? I mean, what would you? That's how out there. It's.
Well, the fun thing about
we're looking at it, and we're trying to figure it out as we're looking at it.
I think that the most encouraging part about all of this is trying to discover this stuff, and I mean that in all seriousness. I'm not trying to be cheesy, but man, I have learned so much in the last year or so researching this stuff. I don't know what my guess is yet, but I'm really enjoying the path, or I should say the journey, to trying to find out. I don't know, man. Is it flat? Is it round? Is it transparent? Is it
that's the other thing. Is it a disc?
Yeah. Is it a flat disc? I don't know. I really don't know, man. But this right here, the color issue, still bothers me, and that does in fact imply transparency. But the third thing, and I think I saw a guy, one of the videos, I think Flat Earth Asshole or somebody brought this up.
That's a good name.
Yeah, right. About the craters on the moon. So he brings up a point about the fact that, wait a second, the craters are all perfect circles. Every crater on the moon, when you zoom in, they're all perfect circles. Why is it that you don't see any trenches? Because a perfect circle would mean that the meteorite or the asteroid that hit it had to come from a 90-degree angle straight down, boop, to make the crater, right? There's no trenches. There's no
Well, also, if you look at that, it's a perfectly round object as well. Wouldn't any skim off the edges? Or
there should be tons. In fact, there should be more.
No, that look like there's almost
a gash.
Exactly, like a crash landing type thing.
Yes. And in his video, he actually says, look, he goes out into the sand. He fires a BB gun, I think it was, into the sand and shows how from different angles it leaves different types of marks. And he was saying that the only pictures he could find of any meteorites hitting anything and leaving a trench was from Hollywood films, 2012 and things like that. But in reality, even on Earth, all we have is the circular craters. So I get to looking into science's answer, and science says, well, it's because these meteors hit Earth, and they may come in at different angles, certainly. But then when they get to where they're going, there's so much energy that they combust and they blow up, they explode, and leave. What you're seeing is the circular from the explosion, not from the hit. I thought, okay, all right.
So like a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, like a bomb.
Like the nuclear bomb gets dropped and it explodes into the atmosphere and creates the mushroom cloud.
Yeah, and then I'm like, wait a second. I thought the moon had little to no oxygen.
I just opened up a whole new can of whatever. Yeah, people have said they don't exist.
Nukes, right?
Oh, God.
Here we go. But then I look it up and I'm like, wait a second. Hold on. If that's your answer, how does something combust on the moon when you don't have the atmosphere and the oxygen in the air?
Oh, wow.
So how does that happen on the moon? And if your theory is correct on Earth, do you have any?
Let's not forget 1/6 of gravity. Right. Officially, so it wouldn't draw in the meteorite with the same force as our gravity.
Correct. And an explosion
probably... gravity, there we go again. Another...
right. But an explosion wouldn't even act the same way.
Yeah, we keep bringing up these different things because people don't believe there's such a thing as gravity as well.
Yeah, people are watching going, there's no such thing as gravity.
What is it? Density and buoyancy. That's what they say.
Essentially density and buoyancy.
It kind of makes sense, too.
That makes a lot of sense. I tell you, I'm pretty convinced of that one. But... So my question is on this crater theory that science puts forth. Can you show us any evidence of this? No, they can't. There are no, recent videos or of meteors coming in, hitting the Earth, and exploding and leaving a round crater. It is simply science's best guess.
Well, they would say that place in the woods in Russia was the last time when all the...
Yes, but they didn't. We don't have footage of the impact.
No,
itself.
It was in the 1910s, 1920s, I think.
Yeah, that's right. There's no footage of it. There's no. There's claims that something came down and boom, whatever. But we don't know that this is the same.
I'm just saying what these stories have said that in their version of history,
yes,
it did indeed happen before. We just didn't see it.
Right, we didn't see it, and that's what they claim is that all meteor holes are the same thing. The meteor came down, all of these craters, whether it's moon or Earth, the thing came down and then it exploded, left the big ring. But yet this is simply a guess, and we are taught as fact. Everyone from age 6 and up, 5 and up, are taught that the little holes in the moon are in fact craters.
Well, green cheese when you're a kid.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm looking at, all right, let's say the edge of this on the right, and as we're playing it or we're freezing it in our footage, it does look like there was impact coming from, because the moon doesn't rotate. That's why we always see the dark side, correct?
That's why we always see that same side, the lit side. The dark side is the side we don't see.
Okay, so what direction? This is just my question from observation. It looks like actually on some angles that the meteorites came from Earth.
Yeah,
and hit the moon. No, I'm just saying. Look,
a lot of people brought that up. It's true. Is that they say, well, wait a second. If the same side's always facing us, how did these asteroids or these meteors?
It should be completely just bulldozed on one side with meteorites.
Yeah, the other side should be pelted, whereas this side should be relatively clean.
Or this side should be destroyed. That's what I mean. If it hits one or the top,
right.
But the bottom or the bottom edge. Mm-hmm. This is just something I'm looking at right now. Like. The direction is coming from underneath to hit that.
If it's coming from Earth, that makes no sense. Did an asteroid hit us, bounce back, fight off gravity, and head to the moon and hit the moon? No, to me that can't happen. But when you look at other shots of the moon closer up, what you see is circular craters everywhere. It's almost like a golf ball, right? And this implies that they came from that direction at 90 degrees.
Once again, I asked the question. I see a lot more top, middle, but I also see once again on the bottom part of what you can search, Google it, or we'll bring up this image. during this voiceover, but once again, I just wonder the bottom half. Another question altogether. Yeah. How does that? And once again, a perfect circle. So it was hit with almost. And what I'm looking at here is mostly all these seem like they were hit with the same exact force, same exact size.
Right.
Yeah.
Same force, same mighty explosion. There's none. There's not very many that are smaller or larger. They're all relatively the same size. And it just, the more I look into the moon, honestly, there's more questions than answers.
What's the David Icke one? And not to quote him again, but it's a quote from someone else that he quoted saying, the moon, it's basically like the moon shouldn't be there.
Oh, yeah.
It was Who Built the Moon, I think the book was.
Who made the moon, or who put the moon there?
Who built the moon, I think.
Who built the moon?
It's too big to be where it is. It's too close to the Earth. It's not. There's all these different. God, I remembered it too. There was like
the
3 or 4.
Acts, the way it behaves, the way it turns, the way it doesn't turn.
It should not be there.
It shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it defies everything that we know. So, again, I'm not claiming on here to know anything in particular, but I am claiming that we've got a lot. I still think there's a whole lot of work to be done when it comes to moon research.
Let's before we even go on this video, talk about how close the sun was. We played this video probably quite a few times, and the sun is.
Yeah, but look at the sun.
The sun's closer to the moon in this video.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's setting, but should it really look that close?
Man, the more I look at these things, the moon, the sun, there is no way that one is 240,000 miles away and one is 93 million miles away. Just looking at the moon, is it really possible for a Nikon camera to get this kind of detail? And people will say, well, it's because you're zooming into something that's 2,000 miles wide. Yeah, I get that. But with this kind of clarity, with this kind of resolution?
Wait a minute. Well, shouldn't you be able to shoot Jupiter and Saturn then? Because they're much wider.
Yeah, and people have actually
that's way far away. But you understand what I mean.
Well, according to mainstream science and that theory, there should be no limit. As long as it's big enough, we can definitely zoom into it.
I'm still blown away by the stars and the way they look, and that's a whole different video. We might have covered that before, but man, with the Nikon and shooting that and seeing it look like almost like an underwater light.
Yeah, I have no clue yet. I'm still looking into that every night. The one thing definitively that I can say for sure, in closing, that I do know, is that Nikon owes Flat Earth a check.